How it feel to be a dad, how it feel to be a man. You provide by any means, and we sticking to the plan. Yeah, I do this for my seed. Come and listen, come and see. Remember it was just me, now it's all about we. Lead by example, this for my child, I swear that I got you for life. Went from the court to talking about buckets, now we talking Pampers and wipes. I really love this though, look at you and get inspired. You the fuel to my fire. Come here, let me change your diaper dash.
Yo, we are back. It's your boy GQ.
And it's your boy Bug. Welcome back to another episode, season 5, baby. What's going on?
Ain't nothing, man. Everything good. Like I told you, I got tatted on the neck the other day. You know what I mean? So this summer, I'm in my fucking bag. But today, man, we gotta, man, I've known Emac shit. I was in my fucking 7th grade.
We gotta be very careful. We gotta be very. Huh? We gotta be. I know Emac. I played basketball with his bros when I was 8, 6.
Shit.
Yeah. So, so we gotta pump our brakes with this one. We gotta tread lightly with this introduction.
As you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, we got Emac in the building, Emanuel McPhearson, good childhood friend of ours. Emac, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Man, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having Shane, Boog. I appreciate you guys, man. I'm Emac. Grew up with Shane, man. We go back to, what was it, Elkridge Hurricanes?
Elkridge Hurricanes, man.
Ooh.
Man, ball for a long time growing up. Boog kind of came with my little brothers, J Mac and Josh. They balled together for a little bit, but yeah, man, I'm just out here in New Mexico now, raising a baby, single dad.
Ooh, okay.
Not a single parent, but a single dad. But you know, it's good that y'all having this platform, man. I'm glad to be on it and talk with you guys and let the other dads see what it really is.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it. It's too funny that you actually said the single dad part, man, because literally when I was setting up, you know, I think you might be the first single dad that we had on, to be honest. And I was telling my wife, I think I told Boog too, I don't like the term single parent, right? And the reason I don't like it is because there is another parent out there. Now, they might not be active, but they somewhere, you know what I mean? But it should be more of I'm a single mom, or I'm a single dad, you know what I mean? So I'm glad you ran that right off the tongue, like, hey, man, I'm a single dad out here.
Hey, listen, he gave us that Monday Night Football interview. That was the best answer I heard so far. That was very smooth, and that shit. He got some PR training. You get me?
College football helped out with that
PR. How old is your son now, Evan?
Man, Nehemiah, he's 4. He turns 5 on the 21st of August.
Okay.
Time be flying, bro.
So you had him when you were, 26?
26.
26.
26, bro.
Run us back a little bit. Run us back to you. First of all, before we get into that, for people that are listening, for some people that do know, Emac come from a historic family, right? 2 brothers, and correct me if I'm wrong, 2 brothers played. One played for Florida State. Other one played for Maryland. One of them ended up playing for the Giants for a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pops played in the NFL for the Patriots.
He played at BC, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken, right? Shout out to my New England people. You get me?
Yeah. Then you have some younger brothers that one plays baseball, right?
Matt was a 4th-round draft pick out of high school. Went to the Arizona Diamondbacks. We got Jeremiah played at IUP. Kimberly, Fist played at Jackson State in Florida, and we got Zach. That's the one that plays with the Eagles right now.
And listen. Let's clap it up for Zach, man. He's going to the Super Bowl. He's going to the Super Bowl, man.
It feels like a dream, bro. It feels like a dream. Zach.
It's funny, before we get into the fan, I remember you posting, like, you know, he got drafted and then slowly he's on special teams, he's doing this, he's making plays. Like, how proud or like how like excited is you and your family about him? Just like he's probably on one of the biggest platforms y'all ever gonna see, you know what I mean? Like, express that feeling that y'all about to have like in the next basically 7 days.
Man, it's honestly like a two-part feeling, man, because, you know, we're proud for Zach, of course. Zach's on a big stage right now. He's the youngest boy. You know, he went to college, got his degree, graduated from 2 universities, and now, you know, he got to the league. You know, we see him thrive and do his thing. But on that back end, you know, we're also proud because without everybody else in the family, Zach probably wouldn't be where he's at. So, you know, it's a two-part feeling of proudness because, you know, with my dad, Garrett, Derek, all the way down the line, we've all put a piece into Zach and, you know, helped Zach get to where he's at today. So we all proud to see that, you know, that we call Zach the little trophy because he got a piece of everybody in us, you know. So it's good to see that. And, you know, we're proud to see Zach in that Super Bowl, but also proud to see that all of our work came together, you know, and helped Zach to be where he's at today.
And that's the thing, though, is that, like, a lot of families will never really say that, like, yeah, we're proud of him for what he did, but we're also proud of him for taking a little bit of everybody into him and build the mold the man that he is. I mean, like I said, it's a bunch of y'all, and every one of y'all has succeeded damn near at the highest level. Starting with, I mean, with your 2 older brothers, but it was like me growing up was when you went to DeMatha, and then you went to New Mexico State, and then with Josh, and then he went to end up doing his tour and went to Penn State and things of that nature, and look what he's doing now. And Zach's over here, he balled out at Penn State, then he went down to Texas Tech in 3rd round, and then now he's here. It's like y'all got too much. It's like giving me chills. And like y'all family is few and far in between. Like, not too many families can say all their children have touched a high level. You know what I mean? And it goes back to kind of like you guys' upbringing and with your parenting and things of that nature. But like, that's a lot of discipline. The fact that it really trickled down through all of y'all. You know what I mean? That's really something special.
That's the big part. That discipline played a big part. And, you know, upbringing. I mean, as y'all know, it's few guys that we grew up with that made it to the league. And the guys that made it were the ones that were disciplined. You know, the guys that went to college like us. You know, it kind of that's what it takes to get to that next step. So that discipline's a big part, and that goes into fatherhood too. You know, how you discipline your kids. So life is a circle, man. I tell you, like everything from sports to workplace to how you parent is just a big circle, man. You kind of use it and utilize it in all.
I totally agree, and I believe it. You coming from such a big family, especially having a lot of brothers. Just explain to us, and you touched on discipline. How disciplined was your father on you guys? You know what I mean? Because, and I want to know like how disciplined he was, but I also want to hear some of the emotions and feelings that he actually showed to you guys. Because, you know, we just talked to Justin, him being a coach. And him coming from, you know, having a dad that was a mentor to a lot of people, it's only so much emotions and feelings that he can, you know, give that kid. You know what I mean? Because you kind of stretched thin through all of that. So kind of break down to us, you know, the discipline that your father gave you, along with like the emotions and feelings to like be a man and be mature and handle certain situations, man.
Yeah, man, that's a loaded question. I'm going to touch on the first part as far as being a man. You know, my dad never really told us, you know, how to be a man. We learned how to be a man from watching the way he was. You know, and that's one thing I really like about my dad. You know, he was never, you hear people say the word toxic masculinity. He never like displayed that to us. You know, he just showed us how he walked. And, you know, that's where we learned it from. But then, you know, you could ask my older brother how he learned, and that would be different from how I learned. So, you know, that's a deep question, you know, but I thought my dad always did a good job of, you know, teaching us how to walk upright, you know, how to treat people, you know, what it took to be disciplined. As far as how he disciplined us, I had a real strict dad. You know, we wouldn't allowed to go out. You know, we didn't do much. On the weekends, we had to stay together as a family. We ain't fool with no girls. You know, smoking, drinking. We didn't do that growing up. The language we use inside the house, we didn't cuss. Really spiritual family, and that's just how we was, brought up in the church. And a lot of that kept us real disciplined growing up, and I'm grateful for that. To this day, those are still things that I keep in my life and try to pass on to my son. But my dad was real disciplined, man. It was sometimes I was like, bro, like, come on, man. I just want to live a little bit. Like, sending this guy to the bathroom, man, with them off the all-boys school. But there's all stuff, we cherished as we got older, and if I was to go back, I'd probably do it again because I'm happy at where I'm at today. So, you can take it how you get it. You can look at it. But I thought, the way he raises up worked just fine. And
Shane, that kind of goes back to I got a bunch of things to say because it's like your pops grew up playing what they called I think they call it a controlled aggression sport, right? Like football is like just controlled aggression. You know what I mean? And the fact that your dad was able to effectively communicate his feelings and emotions, and you may not have agreed to a lot of things that he did. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you could still appreciate it, but the fact that he was able to do that effectively speaks volumes. You know what I mean? And it's funny. I was watching. I was on IG, Shane. Instagramless Shane. Yeah, he probably didn't see this one, but your boy Jay Shetty came up on the Explore page, and he came up with this video. It was like all the things that we now understand of our parents, that all the things that we understand now that we say our parents are right for, our kids look at us as if we're wrong. So essentially, it's just like the continuous cycle. You know what I mean? We all sit back and say, "Damn, my mom was right." You know what I mean? She was right. But it's like our kids look at us and they're like, it's the same shit. Like, you're not right. You're not right for that. And you know what I mean? You shouldn't have acted a certain way. But at the end of the day, they'll understand down the line. So it definitely is important.
That's a good point, though, bro. That also, that leads into how there's a lot of guys like us who are mad at their parents. But a lot of people fail to realize that, bro, your parents were young when they had you, too. And they were still learning.
For sure.
That they were still learning too, and that was the best they had at that time. And that's the cool part about fatherhood, bro, is that you're able to take those pieces that you learned from your mom and your dad, apply it to you. You've been a parent now, and hopefully down that lineage, there's a perfect parent. I think that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Touch on some of the emotions and feelings he's showed you, man. You know what I mean? Like, I know. All dads are different, you know what I mean? Like my dad, he's not really an emotional person. And like you said before, he didn't really say like, hey, this is how you be a man, but he did it in actions. You know what I mean? Did any of that with him leading that way, did it brush off on your brothers and you learned a lot from your brothers? Or was it kind of like, you just kind of took it with your dad and, you just ran with it?
I don't know, man. As far as my older brothers, it was crazy to have older brothers in your household that was the best in the nation at what they did. So those guys, like, I didn't look up to NFL players when I grew up. I just looked up to my older brothers. Like, my favorite football player growing up was my older brother. It wasn't Michael Vick or Chad Johnson, was my older brothers, and he lived in my same house. So I learned just as much from my brothers as I was able to learn from my dad, just because the effect of having a role model that I can go outside my house and touch him, put my arm around him. And that was big for me and my little brothers growing up, is that it made it a little easier for my dad because those are the ones that really taught us the game of football. We watched them, and if you ever look at our film, we all play the same. All play the same style of football because we learned it from my older brother. But my dad, as far as like loving, y'all know my dad coached everybody, but he rarely ever coached us. And for me personally, growing up, I was like, man, why is my dad always, giving to so many kids? He's always working with these kids, always asking if that kid needs help. And that's where I learned how to, to be a loving and give back because I always saw my dad do it. He never really told us this is how you do it. He just showed us how to do it. And now, that rubbed off on all of us. We all of us give back. I have a nonprofit organization out here in New Mexico where we got camps.
Yes, sir.
Back in Maryland, GMAC, they all do it. And that's just, we learned it from our dad.
Damn.
That's go ahead, bud.
Nah, that shit's just crazy. Like, it's like, don't get it twisted. Like, no family is perfect, but golly, like, you guys from head to toe is just, it's perfect. And it's the fact that you guys can give back to not only yours, but to everyone else around you. You know what I mean? All you guys are in different regions of the world, of the country at this point. You know what I mean? You got you in New Mexico. You got Josh over here on the east side. You got Zach over here in Philly. Like, there's so many areas that you guys are able to touch, and the fact that you guys still continue to keep giving is truly special.
Yeah, that's a big part about it.
Hey, I tell you, man, it just sounds too perfect to me, man.
It does, and I'm not sitting there trying to like run anything. I'm just listening. I'm just like, damn, this shit sounds truly angelic. You know what I mean? For all of them.
It for sure wasn't perfect,
Oh,
nah.
Of course.
I believe it.
Every family got the dramas, but me personally, I'm the type of guy I'd rather focus on why I'm here today and, how I got here. That's all through all the positive things that I was able to learn, from my dad and growing up in a big old family like we did.
All right. So fast forward 26, right? Right? Now you get a little freedom. Pops ain't around. That thing around, liquor around, everything's around now, man. And the time comes and you have your son, man. What is going through your head? What is your emotions, your feelings? What were some of your first reactions hearing that you were going to have a child?
I wasn't worried. I wasn't nervous. I was more worried about telling my peoples because I wasn't married. That was where I had some fear of just, being able to communicate that with my parents. Were they mad when I told them no? But, it was just still, I wanted to be married before I had a kid. And, life don't always work as we please. But, it happened and you had to take it running, bro.
So let me ask you this, because all of us have known people that have grown up who played sports at a high level. Who've grown up in those environments that like where it's kind of like a mutual understanding between themselves and their parents that like, hey, you got a chance to do something great. You know what I mean? What was it like for you when you stepped away from home? You know what I'm saying? Now you're at DeMatha. You leave DeMatha. You leave Hyattsville, Maryland. You go all the way across the country to New Mexico. Did you feel?
Hold on. You ain't got the story right, E-Mac. You went to Hawaii first, right?
No, I was right here.
Yeah, so relax. Yeah, calm down. Calm the fuck down over there. Thank you. Shit. My sources is correct. All right, let's relax. All right. Let's relax a little bit, GQ. All right.
Go ahead.
Remember.
Go ahead. My bad, yo.
Yeah, fucking Hawaii. What the fuck you thought this was?
I forgot you had the Spark Notes. My bad,
yeah,
yo.
I got a lot of. Listen, I ain't had to do my research on this family because I was there when this shit happened. Because I was like, why the fuck is he going to New Mexico? But anyway it goes. You go from DeMatha, you go from a Catholic all-boys school from a family who is very, I'm not going to say by the book, but necessarily because they understood the lineage of their kid. Like the kids understood the end goal, right? Like you guys were all top athletes, this and the third. So the discipline was there. What was it like when you left there and went to New Mexico where you're by yourself and like, you know what I mean? You're in college for the first time. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to answer to everybody. I just curious to know.
I mean, from let me put it like this: if it was my son, I'd tell him to stay closer to home because one, when you free by yourself around a bunch of other teenagers, there's not many people there that's going to hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? So that part of the focus and discipline was really hard going into college at 18, 2,200 miles away from mom and dad, and they couldn't tell me, what to do.
But isn't that one of the abilities to have growth, right? Because like if you think about it, like only one of your brothers was close to home, right? Even your dad, he went away to school. Your other brothers went away from school. I feel like sometimes going away and being that independent person, you learn to be an adult. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I gotta wash my own shit. I gotta find food for myself. I gotta really clean up behind myself. But I think sometimes when you stay close from home, it's like, mom come, yo, I gotta clean up this. Yo, what y'all doing?
I think you're right, but you gotta remember that growth, it comes at an expense, and that expense is time. So when I'm 18 years old, not focused, yeah, I'm gonna learn from my mistakes, but that could take 2 years, that could take 3 years. And as y'all know, y'all athletes, bro, 2 and 3 years, that could decide whether you go to the next level or not.
Yeah.
And I think being closer to home and having someone hold you accountable, you know, that could have saved some of that time where you was, you know, you could have had your dad in your ear telling you, hey, don't do that. You know, go this way. This might help you a little bit here. You know, lock in, study there. Those little things could save time, you know, and that's just kind of how I see it now. I would definitely stay closer to home. The support thing was real hard, you know, not having family out here to, you know, during a hard day, I had nobody to go to.
Yeah.
It had to be on a FaceTime or phone call. So it was a couple different aspects to it. But like you said, I think I did. Coming here alone made me who I am today. You know, but it was that expensive time, you know, it just took time to get here.
I love going away to school, man. I wanted to motherfucking have girls over my dorm, do whatever the fuck I wanted to do, man. And I went the first 2 years I was close to home, and then my last 2 years I was in West Virginia, and it was great, man. But I definitely understand what you're saying. You know, sometimes you can lean a certain way, you can be with the wrong crowd, and sometimes you can get lost. Yeah, that's what I always think about. I always think about that when, to think like if I didn't fucking stay here in Maryland and like have a job and have a family, like if I moved to LA, man, and wanted to be like in the entertainment and the nightlife, like I think I would get lost, bro. Because there's so many people that want to do that. They just don't have that guidance, man. You know, we're still young. Even at 25, 24, man, we think we know it, man. We can just the wrong movement, the wrong party, this, that, and the third. You could really, really lose yourself. So I totally agree with that. And, you know, just having that foundation, man, having someone hold you accountable, having someone kind of steer you in the right direction because, you know, our parents, they kind of like our biggest role models we know. You know what I mean? So they kind of really hold that light, you know, even when it's dark times, you know what I mean? Like you said, man, we even like just think about, man, some of them dark days, man, not playing or coach on you, this, that, and the third. It's like, man, you look to your parents, it's like they holding the light, like, it's all right, man, come this way.
And that's was the thing. That's was the thing with me is like I didn't want to go like for college. I didn't want to go far. Like West Virginia was it did enough. Like I was far. I was 4 hours from home. Yeah. To where like I can get into some shit, but if I needed to call somebody, like I'm there. But like when I moved to so like fast forward, right? So after college and all that shit, and then I fucking moved to San Diego. Jeez. Now it's like, bro, when I signed up for my first gym membership that I had to pay for, I was sick. Like there was just like, you know what I mean? All that shit you get coddled in growing up. And it's like, now you really gotta, you know what I mean? Do for your own and grow to be this person that your parents poured in you to be. But now it's like, I can move anywhere at this point. I'm sure Emac could probably attest to it. Like going to New Mexico is probably the hardest thing there. First of all, like, I don't even know what's out there. He can only tell me. You see what I'm saying? Ain't nothing. Exactly. But the fact that he moved there, if it was like a drop of a dime, he had to move somewhere else, he's there. It's very easy. Yeah,
exactly. Hey, so ain't nothing out of New Mexico, man?
Nah, bro. Tumbleweed, dirt. It's bare bones out here, bro.
So how was that transition though? Because like you're coming from the DC metro area, and now you're moving to a place where it's like quote unquote deserted.
The transition actually was easy because when I came out here, it was like 20 of us from Maryland that came. Like Coach Loxley, like 20 of us out here. And one of them was my teammate from DeMatha. So the transition was cool. Like I had friends out here, you know, I had people from the same area. So that was cool. But as far as, you know, the food out here is different, bro. Like none of the same foods at the crib, no seafood. The cultural transition was what was really hard.
A lot of what they call quesadillas out there.
Hey, yo, you gotta relax. You gotta relax, bro.
a lot of quesadillas and burritos, man.
Burritos, the Navajos, the Cherokees, they all out there. The reservations, they out that way. That's what's up, though. But it's culture, though. You know what I mean? Like, we grow up, especially all of us can attest to it. Growing up in the area that we grew up in, like, we grew up around so many walks of life. That's like when we get around somebody we never really been around, we're very quick to learn about it versus like to turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm. Do you? I know you said the culture is real different out there. Would you want, or do you ever think of moving your son here for this culture, and instead of like, because like I'm just assuming, you know, his mother's family is probably there, right? Mm-hmm. And your family is here in Maryland. And this is really like, you know, this is like your culture. You're like, you know what I mean? Your brother up here, Philly fucking an hour away. You know what I mean? Everybody here, mom, dad. You ever think about moving back here?
Funny story. I was with my son last week at the house, and he was hungry. He walked up to me. He was like, "Dad, can you make me a bean burrito?" Man, I started laughing, bro.
I saw you post.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, bro, I ain't never asked my mom for a bean burrito growing up as a kid. And, you know, just to realize that, you know, he's a mixed child, man. And he has his culture just like I had my culture. If we were to ever move, it would be to go back east for sports. The sports out here is a lot different than what we were used to growing up. Sports in school, you know, the schools in Maryland is good. The sports out there is good. So if we were to ever go back, it'd be for that.
Okay, but in general, you gonna hold it down in New Mexico.
I hold it down out here for him.
Hey, bro, you got to, dog, because I'm a true testament to that shit too, bro. Like I wish I could go back to Maryland, but the fact that I'm stuck in New Hampshire basically is like is different. You know
I really want to touch on that because my wife, she's kind of, you know, the similar to, you know, she's from Southern Virginia, 757. And, you know, she gets homesick, this, that, and the third, but she still makes it a duty to try to go back 5-6 times a year. You know what I mean? How frequently do you guys get to go back, see his grandparents, you know, see that culture? You know what I mean? Because you come from a rich culture. You know what I mean? Niggas like, listen, son, we really need you. You're McPhearson, you know what I mean? Like, this shit's in your blood, youngin'. You know, no beef pies or not, seafood or not, it's in your blood. So, like, how, you know, like, do you guys frequently go back? Like, you know, do you always think about that, or is it kind of just like, yo, this is home, I'm just gonna make the best of it, you know?
On a good year, we try to get back about two to three times a year.
Okay.
He got a lot of cousins, so I like to see him. In New Mexico, there's not many black people, bro, so it's important for him to see kids that look like him. And, you know, we get back, and he gets happy, bro. If you ask him where his favorite cousins live, he'll tell you Maryland, because he likes to see cousins that look like himself. So we try to get back in a good year about 2 to 3 times, just so he can see grandma and his granddad and all his cousins.
It's funny, man. Every time you say something, man, it always bring me back. So I got one of my homegirls, man. She's, you know, she has a kid with a black guy, and, you know, they co-parent. They live on the other side of the country. And she's Asian. And I was actually just thinking about this today, you know, with her son being, you know, he's half black, but he doesn't really get to always see that black side of his family. How I feel like that's so deep, right? You know, what's going on in the world today, how they treat black people, this, that, and the third. It's just kind of understanding the upbringing of like, yo, you know, you might have this side of your mom, or, you know, But like me, like, you know, I'm black, you know what I mean? And all our culture is deep, you know what I mean? And just growing up, especially even though we're, you know, people might be mixed, you know, majority of the time people do look more black, you know? And a lot of times people will call them like, oh, you black. You might be mixed, but they're like, yo, she black. You know, he black. He's on the third. You know what I mean? Like, you might be mixed with some Asian, but niggas like, yo, he black. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna say he Asian. So I was really just thinking, man, like, just damn, man, like, you know, even though he in another culture, like all the time, like how important do you think it is for him to like really know that black side of him? Because, you know, he does have a strong black father. Do you really emphasize that a lot to him at all? Or is it just like, hey, I you know, as it come, if it does, but I'm always here to explain it to him.
All right, so I'm going to answer this question this way. You know, a lot of people were mad at Kyrie Irving when Kyrie Irving found out who he was. And knowing who you are, learning who you are is almost like unlocking a cheat code, you know?
Okay.
I remember the first time when Nehemiah was old enough to learn and understand that his Uncle Zach played in the NFL. Man, you should have seen his face, like happy, ecstatic. The next day on till today, all he says is, I want to play football for the Philadelphia Eagles. All he does is play with the football. All he does is run around the house. So, you know, knowing who you are, it's important, man. It's like a lot of people don't talk about that enough. You know, knowing that lineage down the line, whether you came from a tribe of kings or queens or whoever, knowing that's in your blood, but it's almost like a cheat code because now that gives you that chip on your shoulder. As far as Nehemiah's age, I kind of, you know, there's a saying that says, wear the crown in your heart, not on your head. And that's kind of what I follow with Nehemiah. Coming from a family like we did, I'd rather him to learn where he's coming from humbly as he gets older. Because, you know, I'm not a fan of complacency or cockiness. I'd rather him learn that as he gets older without, you know, me having to tell him that. And that way, when he does learn who he is, he can understand where we came from and how we got here by hard work and discipline and that consistency. So, you know, to answer your question, I don't really talk to him much about, you know, your granddad played the NFL or your Uncle Gary played. We don't really talk like that. It was just more like letting him be a kid for now. You know, when he gets a little bit older, that's when he can start to learn.
That's good, man. I sent y'all an article. I was listening to another podcast.
Perfect segue to this next topic. I'm sorry.
Listen, man. You know. Listen.
I'll let you know.
Motherfucker, I do this. All right. Yeah.
Hey, whoa,
all right, man. I'm a segue king, man. It's like, but I was listening to this, and I just wanted to just hear about like some of the thoughts about inherited. So, for people that are listening, there was an article that went out on U.S. Article about, I think maybe the second week of January, just about all these celebrities and how they were not going to leave money behind for their kids. And when I say celebrities, like, we really talking about a lot of celebrities.
Ashton Kutcher.
Let's see if I can get some of
Anderson Cooper.
Huh?
Jackie Chan on that list?
Hell yeah.
Jackie Chan was on that list.
Yeah, y'all didn't know I was fluent, huh? That Mandarin, huh? Nah, I don't speak Chinese. I speak Mandarin. Yeah.
Listen. This is the only nigga I know in the world that can't speak English but can speak Mandarin. Get the fuck out of here.
You ain't lying. Gordon Ramsay, Ashton Kutcher, Sting, Gene Simmons, like, you know, these people are worth $20 million. And
let's throw another name out there because Shaq's on this list too. He's not on the article itself, but I've heard it say something like this before. And that's kind of like,
well, listen, man, I can't throw my brother. I can't throw the Diesel in there.
I'm throwing the Diesel in there. All right, you heard it here first. All right. So I just want just so people can get that baseline.
Okay. So, yeah, these celebrities, like I said, they're worth $20 million, $40 million. And what they're saying is, hey, we're not leaving behind money for our kids. And a lot of the reasons one of the main reason, for them not doing it is because they don't want their kids to be spoiled. They don't want them to use up the money and just give the money away or get into a situation to where they're like, hey, I really don't have to be anything in life. I have money set for me. And basically, I don't need to do shit. Like, my parents going to hold me down. And a part of me was like, damn, man, these are mean-ass parents, bro. Because if I work 20 mil, 30 mil, I gotta leave something behind for my kids. Now, hear me out, Bug. I saw you fucking take the deep breath and turn your head, man. All right, give me a break.
Yeah. Shut up.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't have something set up to say, hey, you gotta do something to get this money. Like, y'all gotta go to school. Y'all gotta get a degree in 4 years, or y'all gotta make sure you get a job, or at this point, y'all will get the money, but. Shit, what we work for? We work for our kids. At a certain point, we was working for shoes or clothes, this, that, and the third. But when you get kids, man, majority of the times, you work to pay your bills, but you work to give them whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So I understand what they were saying, but I want to hear some of y'all viewpoints, man.
I don't understand the logic behind it. I just don't understand it. There's nothing you can tell me to convince me that I understand that.
What, not to leave any money behind for the kids?
Yeah.
I don't get it neither.
I mean, to me, my first thought, from, what you said, that they were saying that they don't want their kids to get complacent with it or misuse the money. Well, if that's me, that tells me that you're a bad parent. Because...
Listen. That was the next thing.
That tells me that you're a bad parent, because it's kind of like when people say, I don't want to have a kid because this world is bad. And I'm like, bro, well, raise your kid to be the light in the world. You know what I'm saying? Raise your kid to help people be more positive people. You know what I'm saying? So at that same token, if you're scared about your child misusing the money or getting complacent, well, teach your kid how to be humble. Teach your kid financial management. You know what I'm saying? That's just where my mind thinks at.
And the way I was thinking was this, is that...
Go ahead, devil advocate. Go ahead.
Yeah, here you go. I'm the motherfucking disruptor in the room. I think that is such... And it's different because I was looking at it from perspective was this. Like, for your average American, like, our goal is to make sure our kids are set up, right? Like, we're not making these M's that these people are making. And then my other thought was like, all right, yeah, so that's just where our baseline is at. Is like, we just want to make sure that like our kids are set, like whatever it is, whether it be with even like the life insurance policy, like whatever, like we just want to make sure our kids have some type of startup to life. God forbid we were to leave before they hit adulthood. And then the other side of me was like, I kind of understand it because, and this is coming from a kid who came, from a guy who went to prep school, right? The kids that I went to school with were the snobbiest motherfuckers on the face of the earth. Literally. I don't know about the Mather. It was probably a different story because y'all was basically all athletes. Like me, like these kids didn't have to go to private school. Like they could have easily went to public school and found their way through life. And the lifestyles that I've seen them live, I could kind of understand how those parents who make X amount of dollars, they make tens of millions of dollars, and they're like, nah, you got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I'll front you. And it goes back to what I was saying about Shaq. It's like, Shaq is say, like, yo, I'm not going to just give you this money. He's like, if you come to me with like a business plan or some shit like that, it makes sense and we can figure it out then. But it's like, my success is my success. So it's like, almost like, where do we draw the line? You know what I mean? Like, I successfully got here, and I'm not saying I'm going to just turn it away from you, but what can you do to prove yourself to walk that path? Does that make sense?
No, it definitely makes sense. And obviously that's the normal way, everyone wants to think. But a lot of these people in the article were basically saying characteristics of them basically not being good parents. Like Emat was saying, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want my kid to not understand the world, or I don't want my kid to be a jerk, or I don't want my kid to think that life comes easy. And it's like, damn, if I lived all my life and I had a kid and, you know, they were 30 or 28 or whatever, and I was about to die, and that was something I was worried about, I didn't do good as a parent, man. You know
but
what
then
I mean?
it's a catch 22 though, because if you look at the article, I believe it was Anderson Cooper was telling us that like our kids may not understand the value of what a dollar is because we're able to provide.
That's your job.
No, but I get that. But what I'm saying is though, when you're of a certain status and your kids not necessarily understand what the value of a dollar is or what the case may be, like your kid, you can still tell your kid, oh, you need to work hard and this, that, and the third, but they can still look to you for handouts.
Yes, but like I said before, man, it's us as parents where we can stop the handouts. And you can't blame $1 million parents for being the way they are, because there's other $1 million parents that have great kids. And one of the examples is Jaden Smith, right? This dude out here trying to find clean water for Flint, Michigan, man. He's not worried about getting his money from his dad. He out here trying to really save the world. You know what I mean? So that kind of touches on, you know, Will and his mom doing a great job at just teaching him, like, hey, man, like, you know, we probably one of the most successful black people. You know, you probably gonna always see me on MTV or VH1 every fucking day in the morning. But there's more to life than money, man. And you can make something out of yourself with not having any of our money. You know what I mean? So we can't really say just because these people have money, like their kids are snobby or they always gonna get handouts. It's the same thing for us. Like,
but isn't that the thing, though? Is that the thing? But we do a lot of this. I need to understand. I'm trying to understand this. So what I'm saying is, though, isn't art as us men in this room right here? Besides, we understand the importance of teaching our kids to be just great Samaritans in society, and you know what I mean, to be able to sustain that. But isn't there another component when it comes to financially, though? It's just like we want to make sure our kids are financially set up. We hear about it all the time. We hear about people talking about, oh, you need to put your kids on your credit card at such and such age so they can have great credit by the time they graduate. Like, we hear about all these things when it comes to finances. It almost seems like it overshadows the importance. You know what I'm saying? Just like Emac said. Yeah, it's just like with the example of I don't want to have a kid in this world because it's crazy right now. What's also is like, well, be the light to the world. You know what I mean? In that sense of matter. But it's like we all, our natural instinct is to think about what it is financially to prepare our kids for the next step in life.
I agree. I agree with that. Where for me, I'm kind of lost is with this. It's like, all right, let's take money out of this. For me growing up, my dad played in the league. That means I have a better chance of getting in the league than a family that dad didn't play in the league. Mm-hmm. So that's like saying, okay, this kid's dad was a doctor. Statistically, his son has a better chance to be a doctor than the next kid. And it's just like, even though, take aside from money, it's like, I feel like it's our job to pass down what we have. You know what I'm saying? If I was a good cook, good chance my son might be a good cook because he's going to see his dad doing that. So for me to think about me being a millionaire and not passing none of that down to my son, I don't understand it, bro.
And that's where the world is fucked up today. You know why? Because we sit back and we think it's about the fucking George Washington in our pocket, and it's not. And it's just it all goes back to this. We always think it's funny to laugh at, but it's the truth, because that's why America's like the world is the way it is these days. We always think it's about the dollar that we got and how we value it, and not the person behind the dollar. You know what I mean?
So I can't agree with that. The reason why I say that is because we don't all think like that. I think some people they're brought up to think that way. Right? I'm
not saying we all think like that, but what I'm saying is, though, if we are money motivated individuals in this world, we always
because that's because of how society is, right? Money in general, it makes life better, right?
And
So
that's where I'm saying that's where shit's going wrong, is that we're not necessarily focusing on the individual. We're focused on the others, the monetary gain of shit, or the monetary success.
No. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's just the normal system. You know what I mean? Like we could probably talk for days or hours about, you know, just the economy and how the government has set up, you know, financial boundaries for people to be successful, this and the third. But just in general, everyone needs money to, you know, have a better life. Now, the deep root unto being a better person, just because you have money doesn't mean that can stop you from being a good person. There's people out there that have
100%. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is, though, yeah, there's financial boundaries for all individuals. Like, it's just the system, that the way it goes. I get that. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, though, we hear all the time, I want to do everything I can to make sure my family's good. We never hear about, I want to pour all of my wisdom and knowledge into my child to make sure they understand what the world's like and how to be a better person. We rarely hear that. And if we do, it's a beautiful thing. But a lot of times we don't. That's what I'm saying. It's like a lot of times we all think, for instance, for me, when I found out Ashley was pregnant, my first instinct was like, yo, I gotta get promoted. I gotta find a better job. I gotta set myself up financially for my kids. That's just where my mind went. And now
I'm about to hit you in the head.
Go ahead.
So even though, you know, what you were just saying, like one of the first things that we speak about is we want to be millionaires, or when you got the kid, I got to be financially ready. Even though these are things that are spoken out loud, in the back of your head, it's normal for everyone to be like, I'm going to raise these kids to be good. You know what I mean? Like that's a normal thing for an individual. Like it's not something that needs to be broadcasted or something that needs to be actually vocally spoken out loud, just because that's something a normal person would do. It's just like, for example, like I don't hear people saying like, I'm about to be the best parent I could be. It's like, once you have a kid, my nigga, like you're a parent, like they ain't no, you got to be the best you can be. It shouldn't be like, pat me on my back for being a parent. Like you a parent, you know what I mean? Like you just got to do it.
That's your job.
Yeah,
but
man.
But what I'm saying is, though, is like we got it. I gotta get you guys on this ride. I gotta get you guys on this ride with me. I get that. I'm 1,000%. I understand that. I get that. Not too many people think like that. Is what I'm saying, though. Is that like we naturally have, I want to make sure my kid's good. Like I want to make sure my kid's normal. Well, honestly, what is normal today? We don't really know. At this point in time in life, the way events have happened, it's like, okay, all right. But all we really hear about is, I need to make sure we hear about all these rap songs and this. I want to make sure my kid's good. I got money for this, money for that, and we all think the same way. Like it creates. I'm not saying money drives the happiness in your household, but it does give you some type of comfortability to where it's like, all right. You know what I mean? We're able to do these certain things, and I'm able to teach you along the way. It's almost like the teaching to be a good Samaritan is secondary to finances.
Mm-hmm. I hear that. I mean,
it's the harsh reality of it.
Are y'all gonna leave something for y'all kids?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, my. Hey, listen.
I'm trying to leave the house that I'm in right now for my daughters.
Hey, listen, my kids gonna have this. Listen, they got this insurance policy that I'm gonna have through my company. Listen, just cremate me, spend a little grand, have a little party, and keep everything else. But see, that's what it is. It's like
because this is another thing that I also wanted to talk about too. Just a little bit before we move on to the next one about like inherited. So like our parents, they had us, but they weren't in a great position. And I can't speak for everyone's parent, but I'm just speaking like for a majority of the people that I know and I was brought up with, middle class, they just did what they had to do to make ends meet and make sure that we had a good life, right? So like not too many parents, the parents that I know, right, that are my buddies' parents, taught them about financial credit cards or loans or this, that, and the third. They weren't too much educated about that, right? So they're just trying to make things happen, make sure you go to school, make sure you play sports, this, that, and the third. But our generation now, we have that ability, we have that resource, we have that understanding of now we can do that for our next generation, right? We can put our kids into a place where, all right, yo, we're going to teach you about what finances is. We're going to teach you about what a mortgage is. We're going to teach you about credit card. So to me, I think financially wise, it's only normal for us to teach them that so they can do that for the next generation, so they can build on top of that. You know what I mean? Just in general, us as Black people, one of the reasons why we are trying to use the right word, I would say not financially stable as a unit, is because education wise, we were never taught that. You know what I mean? We were never taught that as an individual. It was a lot of Caucasian people had that ability because they had the upper hand. You know what I mean? But us as, Black individuals, man, we really got to financially teach each other, not even just the generation, just each other about, little things that we can do to benefit ourselves, the different ways to save money. You know what I mean? So just like Emac said, I don't really see the logic behind not leaving my kids behind when that's like my whole goal. You know what I mean? Like, come on, I got a life insurance policy for them. So, I'm working all these hours just to be like, nah, I'm fuck my kids. I'm just going to go on a boat and spend it all. Come on.
No, but you also got it. We're also dealing with the less than 1% kids who don't have the struggles that those of the mass majority have. There's probably
Correct.
very few of them that have, you know what I mean? Like those parents, like, you got to get your own shit, like, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. But it's like they don't face the struggles of whatever all of our, as 3 men in this room right now, our struggles were different. You know what I mean? Based on the person, you know what I mean? Everyone's struggle is different, of course, but it's like those kids, they don't face that. Our best days are probably their worst problems. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when you have a parent who's made it to a certain status in life, whether your name is Deion Sanders, Shaquille O'Neal, or LeBron James, you came from a struggle to where now it's like your kids you don't have to worry about that. It's almost like a revolving door. So it's like, how do you teach them the core values of like grinding it out and getting it from the mud when they live in a $10 million house?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good perspective.
It definitely is. I can't tell you. I really can't. I don't come from a $10 million home.
But you don't. We don't. I damn sure I dreamt about it, but I didn't. But the thing is, though, is that like when it comes from those people who are those average day Americans and, you know what I mean, those middle class Americans and all those before the elite status that work so hard to make sure that their kids have a better life than betterment for the kids, it's like everything's almost seems like it's driven financially in the emotion and the core values of being a great human being is put on the back burner.
I definitely hear what you're saying, but there are different ways out there to, instill hard work, hustle, good character in an individual. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We've seen movies where the person's dad is the richest or the owner of the company. He's not going to leave him nothing behind because he's not a good person. He doesn't take things seriously. He's a fucking joke. So they put certain things in place to make sure that he does that. But like I said, I can't speak too much on it. But we got one last topic before we wrap things up, right? A lot of lately, we talked to. I'm not sure if you know who Obi is, but we talked to Obi, earlier in the season, and one of the things that he was asking us is just discipline, right? When we were growing up, discipline was, used to get beatings, timeouts, sit in the corner, sit in the dark, all different type of things. I'm not too sure. What went in the house?
No. You was sitting. You had a 23-1 in the bathroom. Let's
yeah.
leave it at that.
Dark, all types of stuff. all types of stuff. And, with society changing nowadays, I just want us to just talk about little ways or certain things that we do to like discipline our kids. Because, your son is about to turn 5. Both our kids are going to turn 4 this year. So they're at the age where they think they can get away with things. They at the age where they do little sneaky Tyler stuff and try to be sneaky and not listen. So do you, and also you coming from a real disciplined background, you know what I mean? What are some things that you do to like really install just discipline for your kid?
So, my discipline is a little bit harder than y'all discipline because I'm a single parent. It's just me and him in the house. Then he goes with him and his mom. So I don't have the ability, to closely monitor how she disciplines so it matches how I discipline. So my son feels like he can get away with stuff with his mom, but when he comes home with me, it's a different story. So, I think, with me, I don't know, man. My son, he observes a lot. So he kind of watches how I move, and I don't really spank him or nothing. He'll get one every now and then, but all I gotta do is deepen my voice, and he'll tighten up. But with his mom, bro, he gets away with everything. She spanks him, yells at him, and it gets to the point where she got to call me on FaceTime, and I tell him to cut it out, and he'll chill. So I don't know, man. I mean,
yeah.
Growing up, I was used to getting whippings, getting beat, from mom and dad. But it's just different today, man. It's different, and I always thought I was going to be a really strict parent. But for me, man, it's just, when he does something wrong and just looking at his face, bro, I'll just be like, man, I can't even spank you, bro. I just can't do it. I can't even do it.
That's great. That's cool. That's good to know, because you know what I mean? Like, to have that, that's not necessarily control, but to have that understanding with your son. You know what I mean? Like me, like my two, I can be as disciplined as I want to be. They still don't give a shit. And they know they don't give a shit with their mom because they understand that their mom's is going to give them the world. So it's like when they get around me, it's like it's almost to the point now where they don't want to be around me because they know I put my foot down with a lot of shit that they know they can get away on the other side. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's cool to see.
Moms get run over, man. Why do they?
You know why? You know why? I'm gonna give you exact fucking reasons to why. A prime example. 2 hours ago, I'm literally giving the twins a bath, right? Quick. Tonight's our hair washing night. We got them both in there. Cool. Suds it down. Everybody's cool. This little motherfucker, Bo, decides to splash. Is like, I'm getting drenched in water. Had like all down my side, bro. I was sick. I took the shit that I used to like rinse the soap out the hair. I just dumped it on his face just to get him to stop. I shit you not, bro. The words that I heard come out of that room, I see her peeping around the corner. She goes, "Why did you do that?" I was like, he was splashing me for no fucking reason. You know what the words I heard that come out of that room were? "It's okay, Bo. That was not right. Daddy was wrong." And I was just like, bro, what? That is the exact reason. Now, I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that.
Why would you do that to the kid, man?
I didn't drown him. I needed something to figure it out. The point, you're missing the point.
But you on some tit for tat shit, man. Like,
yeah, 100% at this point. But it's at that point now where I gotta like really like get strategical with these motherfuckers. These little motherfuckers is surgical with their shit. I had to get them, bro. Literally, I'm like, bro, I gave him 3 warnings and he didn't stop. I was like, all right, fine, fuck it. Here, I just dumped water. Like, it was on his head. It trickled down to his face. He wasn't crying or anything like that. But the words I heard come out of the other room, yeah, he'll be fine. The other words that come out of the room is, "Don't worry, he was wrong." I'm like, bro, what? Literally, that's why.
That kind of lead, man. I think a lot of ladies, they do well, if you do this, I'll give you that. I don't play that. Like, if I say stop, if I tell you to be quiet, you're going to do it. It's not, I'm going to give you a toy if you do this behavior. I'm like, nah, man, that's teaching him. In my mind, that's just bad. that's teaching him bad habits, because I like to relate everything into life. Everything in life has a consequence, man. So if you out here, throwing fits in public, I'm not about to buy you something, reward you for throwing a fit. You know what I'm saying? That's not how life works. And I see a lot of women do that with their kids, man. And I think it just screws the discipline in kids and their mentality with them.
So I totally agree with you. I'm with you 100%. Damn, what was I about to say? Because my wife, she does the same. Oh, this is what I want to say. So I'm the same way. I'm just like you. My wife does that. But one of her favorite lines is, she's only 3, right? And I always tell her, man, I'm like, yo, last year it was they only 2. This year it's just only 3. Next year it's just they're only 4. And I'm just trying to really tell her, man, it's like, it's not about the age, it's about the actions, right? Like, and because you have a 5-year, about to be a 5-year-old, does it get a little bit easier, or do they start listening, or are they the same way as you was?
Your answer is kind of critical right now, so I need to hear this one out.
Man, that's a tough question, man.
Look,
I think it gets easier. For me, I think it gets easier. But kids are smart. 2-year-olds know exactly what they be doing. A 2-year-old is, in my mind, fully capable to understand that he or she is doing wrong.
I believe it.
And that's what I've been saying, bro. That's what I've been saying, is that, like, because Shane used to get on me. He's like, yo, and Shane talk about this. He'd be like, yo, they just 2. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, I'm only going to talk to you about what's in your wheelhouse, or like what you're capable of doing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might do some shit down the line, and you do some shit that might be out of your set. That's fine. Okay, we'll figure it out, because you might not be old enough to understand it. But if I'm literally giving you a bath and I'm taking a bath with you, I gotta figure a way out of this. I'm just letting you know that right now.
Nah, Boog was on his like, he was on his like jailhouse shit with the kids. This was like 1.5 years ago.
No,
I had to tell him, I'm like, yo, Boog, they only 2. He like, nah, man, that's the same shit as we keep saying. I'm like, yo, bro, just give it 1 more year, then I'll be on your side. But I forgot what you had did one time. He was like, you had like pinched him back.
Oh yeah. I don't play that shit. And now listen now. It's funny you brought that up. Because he been doing this shit to me lately. I was like, bro, listen, you bite me, I'm biting you back, and you gonna understand where I'm coming from. I don't play none of that shit, bro. I don't care. I do not care, bro. I guarantee you this. The next time I give him a bath, I'm gonna have that problem again. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, he gonna be set straight. I think the response, he's only 2, he's only 3. I think that's a response that the parents should consider. Like, for example, my son go do something off the wall. I think I would be okay with my woman saying he's only 2, he's only 3, based off how I reacted to him. Meaning, if I raise my voice extra loud, if I start screaming, I think that will warrant a response to her saying she's only 1 or 2. Not saying that in response to his action, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. So you're saying essentially just because of how you took it to that extra level versus what he did. That makes sense.
Exactly. 100%.
Boog, man, take us away, man.
Listen, y'all. One thing's learned: don't be one of my kids. My kids. Nah, I'm fuck with y'all. Listen, y'all. Thank you guys for coming in, listening to us. We want to thank Emac for blessing us with his time. Another refreshing episode, as always.
Appreciate you guys, man.
You know what I mean? For sure.
It's an honor. Y'all boys keep killing the game.
We try to do our thing. But listen, Diaper Dads Podcast, catch us on IG. Listen, follow Shane on Facebook. I'm gonna say that again. Keep following him on Facebook. All right.
Yo, man, I don't need any followers on Facebook. I don't need any because I don't have an IG, man.
Nah, you need some more friends on Facebook. So we're gonna get that going. I am Lawrence Davis on fucking Instagram. Catch us on YouTube.
Oh, Emac, yo, shout out your handle, man. Whatever you got.
Yeah, shout out your. I was getting.
My joint on Instagram is Emac __1. Follow me on the gram.
Follow
We enjoy the
Emac.
thrill.
Emac on the gram. Make sure you guys go follow Zach and the rest of the fucking lineage. They all superstars.
Yes, sir.
Apple Pie.
And yo, before we go, man, hopefully when this drops, it'll be Monday next week. The Eagles would have won the Super Bowl, man. So let's get the blessings and everything that Zach needs to, go out there and conquer and do the mission. So, man, shout out to him, man, and the whole team, the whole McPhearson squad, everybody. Nothing but love, man.
Yeah, if y'all in Arizona, come pull up on me.
Oh, you gonna be out there?
I'll be out there. I'm out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, we there too as well. For those people who like to listen to us on their drives, we love y'all to death. We'll catch you guys next week.
Peace.